Yeah, President Trump now saying, though, he's willing to lower levies on China while repeating that any trade deal would need to be fair.
At some point, I'm going to lower them because otherwise you could never do business with them. Yeah. And they want to do business very much.
President Trump also speaking on Air Force One just minutes ago, talking about how China and U.S. officials are discussing different things.
Well, I want a fair deal with China, but China's been ripping us off for many years, so maybe something should be thought about, a little bit of retribution. China's been ripping us off for many years, ever since they started.
Bloomberg China correspondent Min Min Lo joins us now with the latest from Hong Kong. Min Min, are we seeing some more willingness from both sides to engage some way in conversations going forward?
Yeah, it does sound like this is an early sign that the reaching out from U.S. to China has not been very smooth, because China has said last week that it is considering the possibility of talks, but we have Trump just minutes ago, and also that Chinese and U.S. officials are talking about different things, and that is despite him signaling that he's willing to lower tariffs on China. Of course, U.S. has repeatedly signaled that they are not going to lower that unilaterally as well, and China says it wants the U.S. to remove all unilateral tariffs. And this comes as the Wall Street Journal reported that China's securities czar Wang Xiaohong has been trying to find out what the U.S. actually wants when it comes to cooperation on fentanyl. And Wall Street Journal reporting that China is considering sending senior officials, including Wang Xiaohong, the securities czar, to meet with senior U.S. officials or to meet with U.S. officials in a third country, which is an interesting development if this was true, because who China sends to oversee the development will be quite significant. Typically, at least in the first trade war, it was overseen by China's Vice Premier He Lifeng, or even someone who is the Vice Minister of Commerce. That would signal something, an appropriate person to oversee. But if they send Wang Xiaohong, who is one of the ministers for national security, then it shows that perhaps China wants to limit the scope of discussion to perhaps just fentanyl or national security, rather than opening up a space for comprehensive trade discussions.
President Trump also seems to be feeling a little bit more relaxed when it comes to TikTok, right? Another extension could be on the cards?
Yes, so he said he's willing to give another extension. He has already given 2 extensions, and the current extension, the deadline will end sometime around mid-June. If he were to give another extension, that could give TikTok up to sometime around September to divest. And I guess this gives you another sign of a potential timeline, assuming that TikTok is going to be subsumed under broader trade discussions. It shows that perhaps Trump is not confident that by June he would be able to get some sort of de-escalatory short-term agreement with China. And that suggests that this is going to take a few more months, and of course a broader and comprehensive trade deal typically takes years to ink out. So we'll have to see. It looks like the process is moving along, but perhaps some sort of hurdles in the way here.